Hello there, this is Moonlit Night. Today I will be reviewing what is probably my favorite game of my entire chess career. Because of who my opponent was. It was none other than Magnus Carlsen, the top rated player in the world. This game was played in 2008, and of course it was a simultaneous game. If we had played a normal tournament game, I would have stood no chance. But in this situation, Magnus was playing against, I think it was 20 different players, and it was a clock simul, which is much harder for him because he was running short of time on a lot of boards at the same time. And I remember him losing some games on time, but I was actually the only one who beat him over the board. And like I said, this was in 2008. He was rated 2765 at the time. He was 17 years old, and I think he was probably the fifth highest rated player in the world at the time. So this was no mean feat, beating a guy like that, even though he was playing a bunch of guys at the same time. So e4, and I might add that this was played in my hometown of Stavanger, where you might have heard about the Norway chess tournament that was played here this year, and hopefully it will be played next year as well, with some of the best players in the world. So he played e4. He played a lot of different openings on all the boards, I guess, just to remember all the games in his head while he was walking around. And I played the Sicilian, and we go into a Najdorf opening. And to my surprise, Magnus played the the old main line, bishop g5. Nowadays, this is pretty much known to be harmless. E6, f4, and here bishop b7 used to be the main move, but nowadays a lot of players use this move, knight bd7, which was championed by the great grandmaster Boris Gelfand, who is a huge expert in this line. And I saw actually Kasparov's video on the Najdorf, where he pretty much admitted that Gelfand actually knows this line better than him, and that says a whole lot, because Kasparov is, the man on the Najdorf, and he's probably the greatest player ever, and Najdorf was his sort of opening. It was his opening. Anyway, this, we'll call it the Gelfand system. I don't think that's what it's called, but it should be called that. And the point here is that after queen f3, well, white usually make these moves no matter what. Queen c7 instead of bishop e7, so black is just waiting to play bishop e7, and now long castle, and black can immediately go b5. And there are other possibilities. Black can go queen c7 here, or he could even go b5, which is the very sharp Polybievsky defense. So, but this is Gelfand's way of playing it. And after having seen Kasparov's videos, I started looking into some of Gelfand's games, and sort of getting inspired by him to really learn this opening system. And it's probably the opening that I know the best of all openings in chess. And there's a lot of theory, and I usually managed to remember it, so I had some success with it. I think the evaluation is that, well, in most of these sharp lines, it's just a draw, basically. Um, it looks really dangerous, some of these attacks where white sacrifices his pieces, but actually, if you know the theory well, like I do, it's pretty much, it can be pretty dangerous for white as well, because one misstep and suddenly black is the one on top. So here I actually remembered Magnus played a game against, well, Gelfand in 2005, and it went bishop takes f6, knight takes e5, bishop b7, and well, the game was drawn after 26 moves, and I guess back in 2005 a draw was a good result for Magnus against Gelfand. Well, I mean, Gelfand rarely loses in the Najdorf anyway. Another possibility here is to go e5 straight away, bishop b7, queen h3, take on e5, then white sacrifices on e6, takes, check, bishop e7, bishop takes b5. It's a crazy variation, but it's all theory. Take on b5, knight takes b5, queen b6, knight d6, king d8. Yeah, it's a total mess. But basically, if black knows the theory, then the best white can hope for is just a draw. Also, instead of bishop takes b5 here, there's the trickier, slightly trickier, bishop takes f6, g takes f6, bishop takes b5, a takes b5, knight takes b5, queen c6, check, king d8, takes, rook d1, winning the queen, but remember, white has sacrificed a lot of material here, so take on f4, and 2 rooks and a bishop should be stronger than a queen, but you know, white has a couple of pawns, and the black king is sort of awkwardly placed. Actually, I played this in a blitz game just the other day, and I lost. It can be quite tricky, but in classical time controls, I'd say I would rather be black here. Anyway, so there are many possibilities here, but the main move is bishop d3. Black goes bishop b7, rook ag1, just centralizing. And here the move is queen b6. This is the typical Gelfand variation, and well, the old main line, so to speak, was knight d5, and there's a lot of analysis showing that if black takes that knight on d5, then it's basically white is basically winning by force. But what black can do is take on d4. So this is now the main move, and white takes on f6, g takes, bishop takes b5. With the discovered attack on the queen, of course, black couldn't take on f6 with his knight, because then bishop b5 would be check, and black will lose his queen. So he has to go like this, queen c5, knight takes f6 check, and here it's important, if you're playing black, to remember that king e7 is not that good, king d8 is better. This is all very concrete forcing variation. Knight takes d7, queen takes b5, knight takes f8, rook takes f8, queen a3. Here black goes king e8, and actually Hikaru Nakamura tried this with white against Gelfand, and he lost. And I myself had a game just this year against a promising young Norwegian player who's higher rated than me. He's about 2300 now. And I actually managed to win that game with black. So basically because I knew the theory very well, and I felt at home in this position. So that's all a lot of theory. Magnus didn't want to have any of that, so he went knight b3 here. But there's still some theory to be had. I mean, I play rook c8, and well, queen h3, logical move. And here I had actually seen a game that Vishy Anand played against Alexei Shirov in the Linares tournament in well, the very same year in 2008. Actually, it was played in Morelia in Mexico, and I remember that game quite well. I had analyzed it quite a bit. What Anand played, which was the brilliant enterprising sacrifice on c3. So b takes c3, queen c7. This is actually what happened in my game as well against Magnus. King b1. And here there are two moves. Black can go bishop b7 like Anand did. Bishop b7. Shirov tried e5. Takes an f5. You know, Shirov is a very creative attacking player. But after knight e5, bishop takes e7, and just king takes c7, f takes c6, and just f takes c6. Anand actually won with black in just 30 moves. It was a brilliant game, and I remember it quite well when I was playing against Magnus. But anyway, I had analyzed this position, and I had come to the conclusion that knight b6 is, well, equally promising, if not even more interesting. My conclusion was that it's basically just a matter of taste whether you play bishop b7 or knight b6. The knight is going via b6 to a4 anyway, but the drawback, of course, here is that white can take and sort of ruin your structure a little bit. But this shouldn't worry you too much, because black's idea here is basically just to stay in the center with the king, because that's where it's safest, believe it or not. So, you know, taking back with this pawn on g6, this formation here, it's really solid actually. It's not as bad as it looks. And it's well, the knight is going to a4, and you want to take on c3. And it's not that easy to stop that when you're white. So Magnus tried rook e3, and of course I went knight a4. And his idea was just to retreat the bishop f1. Sorry. And this is all very passive. Well, for the moment, white is up in exchange, but you can see that the position is very open, and these two bishops of blacks can become very effective. And white has to worry about this situation with his king. Here, actually, I could have just taken on e4. Now, of course, if white takes that, then knight takes c3 check, just forks pretty much everything, and black is winning. So he can't do that. He can try the tricky f5 with the point that, you know, if I take on f5, then queen takes f5 immediately wins. And here black should play e5, and it's still a game, but I have to say that black's position is really promising. It's a very strong position for black. Even though you're down in exchange for the moment, it's a matter of time before black gets some material back. Anyway, I didn't see bishop takes e4, so I played h5 here, which is it's a common idea, just to sort of prevent g4. Well, I guess white could play g4 right now because I can't take, but it's not the sort of move you want to make right now. Anyway, so I guess Magnus saw that I could take on e4. Well, for whatever reasons, he played rook d4. And now I played the very natural bishop h6. And Magnus played queen f3, which is probably not such a good move. And here there are two moves. I played f5. I could also have played e5. You know, both moves just utilizing all these pins on the white position. So, for instance, rook d3. I can just take on f4, and let's say he moves his rook, then f5, and there's another pin, and it's just a hopeless situation. But so maybe e5 was even stronger, but I played f5, and yeah, what can I say? There's not a whole lot that white can do. I mean, all his pieces are just pinned up and tied down, even if he's an exchange up for the moment. He played c4, but now I just went. Well, I could have played again e5. It's just a crazy looking move, but well, actually here he can take on e5, and now if I'm a little careless and take on e3, white actually takes here on d6, and after queen d7, queen takes e3, white is actually winning. But after takes on e5, black just takes back, and well, he's winning basically. But after c4, I just played bishop g7, which is also good. Well, for various reasons. I mean, white can't really move his rook because I would just take on c4 here. So he played queen d1. Yeah, just trying to give some material back, because now if I take this rook, now he's you know, threatening my rook on h8, and getting some initiative here. It's probably very good for white. But I just took on e4, and well, again, there's not a whole lot that white can do. If he takes on d6, well, I can take on c4, but you know, there's even the funnier knight b2, and queen d2, knight takes c4, bishop takes, b takes, and it's a total disaster for white. I mean, just look at these bishops are just totally dominating the board. So after bishop takes e4, he played king c1. I guess it doesn't help much. Well, at least now my knight can't come to c3 with check. but I just calmly played king e7, which is actually a very good place for the king. And he tried to take on b5, but of course now knight e3, and he's forced to give back the exchange. And well, first of all, white can't take on d6 because of just check on b2 and grabbing a rook. And but Magnus had pinned his hopes on rook c4, and after a move like queen b2 check, king d2, it's not so clear because, well, first of all, white wants to come down to c7 and maybe get some counterplay. Black is probably still much better, but yeah, it's not the best, because instead what I did, I checked on e3, king b1, and just took on f4 with, well, the point is now that after rook c7 check, king f6, queen d4 check, king g6, white is basically just helping black. The king is very comfortable on g6, and these bishops are still just totally dominating. And this is actually what happens, and after, well, he couldn't find anything better than queen d1, and after queen e5, I'm threatening both mate on b2 and the bishop on b5, so you know, facing, well, basically losing a piece and still being under attack. Magnus resigned. So well, this was a great victory for me, even though it's only a simultaneous game. I think it was a convincing game, and good memory, of course. So, well, this has been Moonlit Night, showing you how to beat Magnus Carlsen in simul. And thank you for watching, and I'll be back with some other games. Thank you.